it because I don't want to give her the benefit of the doubt because of what happened to the children.
It was horrific what happened to the children. And in her own diary, she recorded that. I mean, and we're talking about her 10, 11, 12-year-old son, okay?
Yeah.
She said that she told him that he was so evil that he slithered around the home like a snake. I mean, it's just this dehumanizing talk that she was using towards her own children that, really it sounds, I mean, and then they wanted to buy a property in, she and Jody wanted to buy a property in Arizona where they could fully discipline the children, and I think they would have killed them there. So yeah, I mean, they were all members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints,
Oh no.
most commonly known as Mormons.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Were they
So
really?
they were all church members of Mormon church members, yes. And in fact, Jody was going up north to Salt Lake City to meet with some of the real higher up LDS church leadership to get help for her shadow demon people. Yeah, so that really begs
All
the
right. So what
question.
are we leaning on this one? Are we? I don't want to give her an out. I don't want to give her an out. I really don't. Because but I'm not so quick to say that there's not something, because I'm not so quick to say that maybe she wasn't subject to something otherworldly that either corrupted her. People believe in exorcists, and if you believe in exorcists, you believe in possession. If you believe in possession, you believe in demons. If you believe in demons, you believe in non-humans. Right?
Yeah, that's a very
Simple
good
as
way to
that.
break it down. Previous to having my own experience with the black shadow thing, I would have said this is all a bunch of crap. They're crazy and left it at that.
But
But I
that's
really did
that's what's
see.
crazy is you lived so close and you saw
Yes, I was
a
only
shadow person.
about 15 at the time. I was only about 15 miles away, and I too had an encounter with a black shadow thing. And then
That's crazy.
when I was living there, I had a lot of weird had a lot of completely unexplainable things happen to me. I had like red hieroglyphic projections appear on my wall
Yeah,
with
you
no
send me some
obvious
of these pictures
words.
and I need to back it up. I don't have them with me, but
We can talk
she's
about it
right.
another time.
She's and you've had some weird stuff happening lately too.
I have. So I moved from there. Not any not 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 because, there were child abusing crazy people, but I left, and even since I left, I've captured some really bizarre I don't even know what to call it, some really bizarre lights or orbs on my security camera. The first
Yeah,
night.
if I were to like describe it, I would say if anyone's seen the Skinwalker Ranch, um it's almost like the trail cam footage that they show, um where it's this hovering light that splits into two, and
It is,
then
and
it's so and that's what throws me off, because I mean, if it was one, the way it was moving, I could be like, all right, could be a bug reflecting back. But when it split into two and then went back into one, then I'm like,
yeah, and then
uh I'm
so
not so sure.
that was the first night, and then 2 nights later it came back, but it doubled. So there were two of them that split into four and then went back to two, and they're not moving. They're moving, but it's not in any kind of natural way. And these are very bright lights. And they're not, and they're very small. Um, but they're not moving like with the winds. There's not any kind of rhythmic movement. You can see debris and stuff like flying in the wind. You can see other bugs flying. Um, it's not those. Do you have those videos to put up?
No, I sadly I didn't upload them.
Okay. Well, next
Um,
time we can look at those.
yeah, I'll definitely do that for next time because we got to jump into the next story anyway. But
I'm not too far from where I live now. I'm not too far from Skinwalker. And, I just really wonder what is going on in Utah.
yeah, I'll say this. I'll say this in anticipation for next week. The videos of they're interesting. They're interesting. For sure.
They are on my Twitter if people are interested. And so are the red Egyptian hieroglyphic projections. And then a light that appeared on a cross in my house on my mantle with no obvious source. I mean, it's almost like this light. It's bizarre. And you've seen those.
Actually, it's another weird. Not. I don't even know if I should tell the story. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna. Anyway, all right. So let's get into the last story of the night, our main story, and that is coming out of Avi Loeb, of all people, talking about the Large Hadron Collider, the LHC, operated by CERN, owned and operated by CERN, is it Switzerland?
Yeah, it's Switzerland, and then it also, I think it's two countries actually. I think it's so big it crosses the border into another country and comes back. I might be wrong.
Okay. Yeah. So what he basically says, I'll bring the article up in one moment, but basically what he says is he thinks that any extraterrestrials could be using similar technology to what CERN is attempting to do, and that is open portals or access other dimensions. We, the public, have no record that they've done so far. I'm not so sure that they have not, because some of the conspiracies that are attached to the LHC, I want to jump into you with in a few moments, but right out of the gate, what are your first impressions of this?
Yeah, so when I first saw the article, I don't know if you want to put it up so people
Yeah,
can
I'll put it up now.
When I first saw the article, it says Avi Loeb says that they're trying to open portals at CERN that would be the same kinds of portals that extraterrestrials might use to travel in their UFOs here. It is basically the gist of it. And I thought, wow, well, that's really interesting, because that lines up exactly.
Bold statement.
That lined up exactly with what David Grush, the whistleblower, was testifying to Congress about last year. David Grush, the whistleblower who spent a lot of time testifying before Congress, his testimony, he never once used the word extraterrestrials. His testimony was about non-human intelligence that was interdimensional. And he kept using the words interdimensionals and non-human intelligence. And now we have Dr. Avi Loeb from Harvard talking about the ability of a other civilization to use higher dimensions to travel interdimensionally to come here. So that, these stories are lining up now. And so it goes on to say that CERN is, making an attempt to open these higher dimensions.
Well, I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it for everybody here real quick. So Avi Loeb, known for his efforts to prove we are not alone, has claimed that extraterrestrial visitors are traveling through hidden dimensions created by researchers at CERN Particle Accelerator are seeking, which doesn't make sense. So they need to update that because I when I read that, I go, you need to fix that because that doesn't make any sense. The accelerator, the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider, blasts particles at, again, mess up, at nearly the speed of light to recreate conditions of the Big Bang with hopes of uncovering hidden dimensions that will reveal how our universe formed. Speaking in a new documentary, Loeb said that alien civilizations may have been developing dimension hopping technology for billions of years. The physicist also noted that extraterrestrials are using theoretical quantum gravity engineering to travel through curled dimensions that humans can only detect in particle accelerators such as CERN.
There you go. Go.
So, again, they kind of ran with what he said and slapped the whole he said this, but he alluded to the possibility that extraterrestrials could be using and could be very, very far advanced in this technology. He didn't say that they are using it. He just says that it's something that he thinks that could be a way that they're and a lot of people do say that when they see these UFOs, they'll see them and they'll look like they're kind of like skipping through skip like a rock skipping through water. Um, a lot of people say that when they see their sightings, that's what they see. So could that be what these things are doing? Is curling space and it literally the ship isn't moving; they're just falling through dimensions.
And it would also explain how they appear to a lot of people to just kind of pop in and pop out, which that's what they would be doing. But for us to witness that, it would look like they're here and they disappear. They're here and they disappear. And if they are, in fact, going into a higher dimension and then coming back out, that's exactly what it would look like to us. It would look like they're here, they disappear. They're here, they disappear. We're basically the flatlanders. And we're witnessing possibly, somebody from a higher dimension putting their finger, into flatland. And then the flatlanders, don't see the entirety of the finger. They just see slices of it as it moves through flatland. If anybody's seen Carl Sagan talk about that's the best way to visualize that. And and so it makes sense, because if any advanced civilization was going to try to visit us here, they're not just gonna put a gallon of petrol into the old spaceship and fire it up and go tootling through space for 20 light years. That's not possible. So they would have to have some sort of advanced way to travel,
especially
and
if they're biological beings.
yeah, so they would have to, an interdimensional travel would be the way to do that. If they could go up a dimension and then pop back out. I think we've talked about it before, kind of like the bread loaf. If the bread loaf is time and we're the worms going through the bread loaf, and every slice of the bread loaf is a day or a minute or a week, and we as the worms, all we can see is the slice in front of us, which is the time that we're in now. But if you could exit the bread loaf, you would be able to see the entirety of time, and somebody's life would look like a worm trail. And if you could pop out of the bread loaf, which is the entirety of time and everybody in it, you could pop back in at any point. And so that would be the best explanation for how they would be traveling.